Keeping track of records without any form of formal organisation would be near impossible. With so many people doing so many solves, it would be near impossible to track who is legitimate and what solves seem legitimate without a form of formal organisation, which is why the WCA is a godsend. Organising competitions with official rule sets and standards that everyone has to follow to make sure we have legitimate world records, and hosting it all on one website where you can view the history of records, something that would be almost impossible if this were a community project, is incredible. However, every now and then, something will happen that isn't officially recognised or remembered by the books. I'm not talking about you sat at the back with your friend doing team blind in between rounds of 3x3 at a comp. I'm talking about straight up legit results that maybe don't get remembered the way you think they ought to. While these things don't get remembered on the official website, are the people that were there remember? Yeah, the streets remember. And I'm going to tell you about some of these events today. If you've been cubing for a while, you might be familiar with quite a few of these, but there was a massive boom in cubing in COVID in 2020 and in 2021, and all of these predate that. So, especially for newer cubers, this could teach you some interesting stories about the new hobby you have. Right, let's set the scene. The year is 2015, and you're in Maryland, United States for River Hill Fall 2015. The second round of 3x3 has just begun, and world-class solver Keaton Ellis is sitting down to do his first solve. .509. At the time, the world record was 525 by Colin Burns. This 509 is a new world record. That would be until the third round of 3x3, the semi-finals, when after dropping a 10 and then a 7, Lucas Eder was looking for something explosive to keep his average on track. What he got was a 490, the first sub-5 single in an official competition. Lucas Eder went down as a legend, and Keaton Ellis, well, when you input results from a competition, you input all of them at the same time after the competition has ended. This means that as all of the results hit the database, the fastest one was the 490, meaning that the world record jumped from Colin Burns' 525 to Lucas Eder's 490. Even though Keaton Ellis had a faster time for about an hour in the real world with the 509, it was never officially recognised, and to this day, Keaton Ellis has never been an official world record holder. Another pretty well-known instance of someone slimly missing out on their world record comes from 2018, when the world record single was still 422 by Felix Zemdegs. In the 3x3 final of West Coast Cubing Tour Cupertino, Jaden McNeil had a U2 AUF at 3.6 seconds into the solve. What did he do? He dropped the cube. The consensus varies of if this solve would have been anywhere between 3.6 to 3.9. Some of the people on the more conservative side are saying about 4.0. In all likelihood, this would have been the world's first sub-4 single, predating Yu Chengdu by actually only a few months, so he would have lost the world record eventually, but it would have been a world record single, and it would have been the first person to break the sub-4 barrier. Unfortunately, it seemingly wasn't meant to be. Jaden McNeil, despite being one of the best 3x3 solvers in the world at the time, unfortunately never had a national, continental, or world record for 3x3 because he was from the same country as Felix Zemdegs. But what if instead of a world record, you missed a world championship? See, world records, they're very lucky. The more you compete, the more likely you are to get one because it depends on the scramble sets you get. The best way you can get it if you're a world-class cuber is just keep feeding yourself new scramble sets, going to new competitions, and eventually you'll spit out a good record. For a championship, you have to be the best in the moment. Arguably, it's a better test of skill, and it probably favours the more consistent. So, I would be pretty sad if I was robbed of a world championship in any event. Unfortunately, this is what happened to Seong Hak Nam. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I don't trust myself to pronounce that right. Alright, we're heading to Google. Can't find videos. I could find a video for every name individually, or I could go to Google Translate and see what the lady says. Let's have a listen. It's a man. I was wrong. Is that a silent K? You know what? I give up. Either way, on his first solve in the 3x3 finals of the 2017 World Championships, not 19, 2017 World Championships, he would complete his solve, a 6.15 by all accounts, and the timer would reset. It was a DNF. Now, if his next 4 solves went the same way and that solve wasn't DNF'd, he would have had the fastest average. And he did the solve. It wasn't any issue of his, it was a fault of the timer, it was a malfunction, but you can't get an extra for that, because if you could get an extra, then people would just reset their timer when they get a bad solve and claim the extra solve. It has to be a DNF. But he had the fastest average in that round. He just was second place in the World Championship. In another instance that certainly was not the solver's fault, we will go to Melbourne Winter 2014. It's the 3x3 finals and Felix Zemdegs has started out with a 10.30, he's looking for something better on his second solve. At the time the world record was 5.55 by Mats Volk, and this is the solve that Felix got. .533, a new world record. Never mind. Now you might think that a corner twist is a skill issue, and most of the time it is, but if you look back at the solve, you look at what corner twisted and where it was, there was no way it had any amount of the resistance that it needed to twist. The corner just felt, the corner trolled. And Faz was scammed out of his other world record. It should have been 122. At the end of the day, this corner twist actually had massive ramifications, so not only did it jam Felix out of a world record, which I'm sure in retrospect he really isn't bothered by, but it also kind of put a bad name on Moyu's hour-long at the time, and this was a golden opportunity for GAN to come in and prove how good their cubes were, because they did not corner twist like Moyu did. Regardless of the implications of any of these solves, I have been your host, Cyber Cubing. This has been 4 stories that the streets remember, but the WCA does not. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, I want a bigger number. Thank you.